Hey, good evening, everyone. I hope y'all are doing well tonight. It is Saturday night, of course. It is 7 o'clock, 7:06, January 10, 2026. Oh, we're going to get used to that. Good grief. Well, tonight, guys, we have got some Florida researchers I met recently on a good friend of mine's show, Mr. Richard and Johnny show on Sasquatch Unredacted. And I just loved them so much, and we kind of got in contact with each other. And I wanted to do a show with them, and I think you guys will enjoy them tonight. Before we get started, though, with them, I want to say good evening to Stephen Hicks. Yeah, I'm glad I'm back too, brother. It's been a while since I've done a live, and I'm still going to do some other stuff. I'm working on something as we speak, and I'm hoping to have it ready for next week. Curtis, how you doing, bud? You better be there. And I will make an announcement, guys. We are fixing to do some camp outs this year, and I will make an announcement. I'll get old Bear on here, and we'll have some fun with that. Miss Charmaine Burnside, how are you doing? Southern West Virginia, beautiful country. I love it. I do. I love it. Love it. All right. Well, let's get on here and get started. Let me get back up here. Yeah, let me bring on first. Let's bring on Mr. Troy Palmer. How you doing, Mr. Troy?
Hey, doing great. Good to see
Oh,
Icebox.
good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. Let me go ahead and get your partner in crime on here. She's hiding in the background. Let's see. There she should be. There she is. How are you doing?
Doing good, Tommy. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Doing just fine. Before we get started, these guys are with, as you can tell, with Troy's shirt and her shirt too. Just can't see hers is good. Sasquatch Origins, and I want to put this up here in case you want to catch them elsewhere. They're www.sasquatchorigins.com. They are on YouTube. There's something going on there, and I'll let Troy explain that. I believe you can get in touch with them on Facebook. Go over and check them out over there at Sasquatch Origins, Instagram, and TikTok. Is that about all the places they can find you guys?
That's about it.
If it ain't enough.
The base is covered, huh?
All right, all right. Let's see here. Let me see what's going on over here before we get going. Hey, baby, Miss Kimberly, how you doing? Ralph, no, 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 no. We're gonna do that with you on a different show tonight. I'm gonna leave it with Mr. Troy, Mrs. Desi. So we're gonna leave it like that. But we will do an announcement here pretty soon. Probably I don't know, but we will do it pretty soon. Anyway, so let's get back over here. Anything I need to show? Anyways, let's get started about you guys. Uh, Mr. Troy,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you first because I've talked to Miss Desi, and it's going to be a great. I'm going to save the best for last, Troy.
You've got that right.
uh, Tell us how you got started in all this, please, sir.
Oh my gosh. So I've hunted for years, grew up on a farm, hunted for years, never had any encounters, never really thought about it. Moved to Florida. I was hunting over in Bull Creek, which is Herky Huffman Bull Creek. And over in that area, I started having some strange things occur, sounds, uh, grunts, growls, just very unusual things that happen. And after that, I went to uh, uh, one of the conferences here locally in Lakeland at that time, the RP Funding Center. They had the Greater Florida Bigfoot Conference, and I ran into Desi and a few other people, and we ended up from that point we went out in the woods a few times, and actually we found some tracks. And after that, I was hooked. I now I'm on the hunt, so I have to find out what this really is, what's really going on, because there's enough evidence there to say there's something there. There's definitely something there. And with our encounters, what we've heard, what we've seen, geez, I've got to lay eyes on it though. I have to put my eyes on this thing.
Yep,
So that's basically how I got started.
I remember talking to you, and I told you, I said, all in all, you want a sighting. That's all you really want. You want to see it for yourself,
Yeah.
prove it to yourself, as
Mhm.
far as that goes. Have you ever been interested in it before all this?
Maybe a little bit here and there, but nothing that's serious. This is really a serious undertaking at this point. Real research, documenting items, issues, encounters, evidence, just making sure that we look at everything. We're looking at sharing information with other researchers so we can pull all that behavior stuff in and maybe
Mm-hmm.
get some synergy going so that we can really start uh, making some more headway here. We just had
Okay.
another. We'll talk about this other encounter that we had, or other evidence that has popped up. And I was not a believer before, but yeah, yeah, very excited about sharing that.
Okay. Have I got it already?
You do.
Okay. All right. Then we'll save it for later. All right. Desi, I love this story, guys. Tell me how you got started. And I know from beginning to end, so don't leave that out.
Oh goodness. No pressure at all.
Not at all.
None. So Troy, oh, he shared some of his details, but when he goes more in depth with some of the experiences he has as a hunter, you may change your mind and think his is better than mine, to be
It
honest. But he
doesn't
just gave
matter.
you the surface level. So unlike Troy, I did not have any odd experiences in the woods growing up as a kid. Nothing like that happened. So it wasn't, a firsthand experience or something that made me go, out in nature. Mine really was driven through my family. So, growing up in the 80s and 90s, originally from Western Pennsylvania. So we have beautiful mountain ranges. The Laurel Highlands are 5 minutes from my hometown. And so there's a lot of opportunities to get out in the woods and do, cool things. And in the 80s and 90s, you spent a lot of time outside. You weren't linked to cell phones or technology the way we are now. But in the early 80s, as we were growing up, our grandparents helped raise us. So both sets of grandparents helped raise us. But my mom's side of the family um, always had an interest in the unknown. So my grandfather, who came from Poland on that side of the family, he would tell us at a very young age about his passions. He was an avid reader. He loved to get out and explore. And he always just had an interest in something that at that time was probably very taboo. So, we grew up, I was 5, 6, 7, and instead of, your typical fairy tales and, Disney stories, it was about sea creatures and ghosts and Sasquatch and aliens and, everything you can think of that to some degree, some now refer to as the cryptid field, or parapsychology, or, the things now that are more maybe common in nature that people are seeing on TV or reading books about, or listening to podcasts about. So he was so passionate about all these unique unknowns. And so we grew up kind of having that same passion as his because we learned from his avid reading all the things he could about those topics. He used to spend, overnighters in cemeteries and sleep by headstones. Like to him, that was something he wanted to do. Like Troy and like you, Tommy, I have to see it to believe it. So he was waiting for that, that ghost phenomenon to roll by and say, okay, check that box. What's the next unknown I need to figure out? And as growing up in that area too, having access to the wilderness was a blessed given. Honestly, that side of the family also was avid hunters. So I have two uncles on this side of the family that loved hunting. So one should be a professional archer. He was amazing at bow hunting, and he would take us out and we would explore the woods. If it was at night, we'd be spotting deer, or early in the morning. He took us through the woods, things you look for nowadays that Troy's always looking for when we're out there. If it's the deer scrapes or rubs or the broken, twisted pieces of a tree from a deer's, horns or rack or whatever the case may be, he just got me really comfortable being out there and trusting your instincts. And he himself had a handful of incidents that he never wanted to share with us because he didn't want us to stop going out there with him. But noises he could never explain. And honestly, I love my uncle. He's like a best friend, and I really miss him being down here because I only get to see him a couple times a year. But I'm telling you right now, he would choose being in the woods over he would choose spending time at home with family because that was his home. And so if he heard, something heavy fall from a tree or a scream that was completely abnormal or, breathing that didn't make sense, or something crashing through the trees that he knew it wasn't a bear. Like, right, those are the dominant predators up there. Bears, um, some version of a panther, mountain lion, something like that. Those are your apex, and he knew that it wasn't those types of things. So he had a fear of sharing too much. But then when I got a little bit older, and after my grandfather had passed, hey, Uncle Joe, I'm in Florida doing this really cool stuff. I found a niche group of people I love and enjoy. Look at some of the stuff we're finding, or look at some of the stuff we've recorded. And he just, opened up and lit up like a light bulb. Like, oh, I had an incident where this happened or that happened. And he didn't want to share it for all the reasons we know other people don't want to share it, right? Like, they don't want to be mocked. They don't want to be criticized. They don't want to look like they're cuckoo, especially with his passion for hunting and the outdoors. I mean, it's quite unbelievable of how much time he's spent out there and shared it with us. So I feel like I was raised to believe in things that we don't see typically, which maybe is a little bit of an oddity. And even, you ask my friends from back home nowadays, I'm probably looked at the one, I was looking at the sky to find a UFO, or the one, oh, let's find something spooky to do. I love it. I'm so drawn to it. And when you love something, that passion becomes a big part of your life, and love to do this more often than I can as a mother and somebody who's responsible for taking care of all the things we are as adults. So I'm very blessed. I wish my grandfather, we called him Pap or Pappy. I wish he had the opportunity to get into the technology that we use nowadays, because his mind would be blown.
Oh, he would love it. He would love it. I'm like
Absolutely.
you. This is what I say is so refreshing. I grew up watching TV, of course, watching Bigfoot shows. And, well, what was it? The big three back in the days? You had Bigfoot, Loch Ness, and UFOs or something like that,
Yeah.
And I always liked the Bigfoot one the best. And, of course, you had other shows that come on and movies and such. So for me, it was refreshing to hear how you got started. I mean, I was talking to her in the truck fix going to Walmart, and I couldn't hang up. I just had to hear, sit there and listen to that story. That was so much fun for me. It was great. It was great. All right, yeah. So y'all met at a conference. They got to talking, and I understand y'all were part of a group at one time, and y'all decided to branch off by yourselves. I take it. How's that worked out so far for you two?
I mean, honestly, I think we were off to the races as a team, as a duo. And if I had to guess, right, 3 weeks to a month after that, we came across our first set of our first and only set of amazing possible footprints. So
Yeah.
I'd say we made maybe a smart decision.
I think so. What about you, Troy? Has it
Oh
worked
yeah,
out? Before you
absolutely.
get, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, absolutely. When we first started out, it was great. We fit together real well. We were able to communicate very well. Where I can't hear very well. Her hearing is amazing. If I get off the rails, she pulls me back on, and vice versa. When we found those tracks, we were both stunned. I was really stunned because, coming from a very skeptical area to now I've got something in front of me where I cannot explain it. It was absolutely striking for me. Striking. Took me 3 days. 3 days to process it. And I'm not kidding.
It'll blow your mind when you find something. Before I finish that comment, Super Twister, how are you doing, bud? That is one of my football guys. I love this guy. Love it when he calls me. I need to call him. So good evening to you, Twister. How you doing tonight? Mr. Henry lives up there in New Hampshire, if I remember correctly. Henry's been too long, man. I'm glad to see you tonight. And I believe another gentleman jumped in here. And yes, I will be on Discord tonight, depending on what time or as soon as I get done with this show. And let's see, I believe it is Seminole War. Yeah, Seminole War. There he is. Hey, bud, how are you doing tonight? He is also from Florida, so you might know him. I don't know. Okay. So, anyways, it is something. I had a gentleman on not too long ago, done a video with him, and he says something like, and he's absolutely right. The times that you were growing up, you might have been hearing noises or seeing things And until you recognize, you don't recognize. You know, such as your tree bows, footprints, yeah, on and on and on. As far as your physical evidence, and until you know what it is, or uh, you think it's something that could be attached to it, you know, until you recognize it, you know, these tree knocks, whistles. We got to decipher if it's with birds or what it is. These night birds or in the daytime. I've had to go through that myself a little bit here lately. I'm still not convinced yet, you know, because I'm not trying to be what I call hard headed. I just got to know for sure before I actually make quote the claim. You know how it goes, and I don't mind being wrong at all. So as far as that goes, all right. Anyways, y'all sent me some evidence.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you want me to go ahead and just show the video all the way through, or do you want to talk about it afterwards? Which would y'all like?
Maybe we could lead up to the video with the footprints. Would you mind if we started with that?
I don't mind it at all. Where's the footprints at?
The
Is it in the
actual
video?
physical. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, the video. Okay,
Yes.
we'll start.
Yeah.
We'll start with a video. All right, let me see how this is gonna work. If not, I gotta back up. So let's see how this works. Okay.
No problem.
All right, hang on just a second, and bring that back in.
Nice job.
You like that?
Yeah.
I
Good
hope
job.
so.
Thank you.
I enjoyed making fun. Ask anybody. It ain't easy. But when you get all this stuff together, then have to piece it together, and I'm like, I got to do something else. All right, Mr. Spencer, how you doing tonight, buddy? That is my man, Alabama football. Hey, good to see you tonight, buddy. Let's see here. Mr. Athens has jumped in there too. Mr. Athens, he's your Florida guy. Y'all know Mr. Athens. I believe you do. If you don't, you will.
Mhm.
I was active internet for 20 years ago. Hey, I'm with you, Semino. I got to address that. Man, I was in it too. And I was in the BFRO. Had my sighting, of course, and life got in the way. But it wasn't crazy people. But there's still some crazy ones out there. They ain't sane like these two I'm talking to now.
Definitely take that as a compliment.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yep, they are hard to catch. But yeah, anyways, now I want to talk about these footprints, and I find them very interesting. And we got more to the video, guys, but we're going to backtrack a little bit. So let's go back here to the very beginning, and if you don't mind, and I'm going to put us all on the bottom page here. Let me go here.
Okay.
Before we get into that, let me go back and let me do this, guys. There we go. All right. So now this is the Green Swamp. Now, is there not a lot of people going down to the Green Swamp?
No, I mean,
go ahead. Go ahead, Des.
I was just going to say, I think we've grown to learn that it is more popular than we originally thought with people visiting that area. So if it, obviously part of the Green Swamp has a series of permitted hunting. So there's a lot of hunters that visit the one side of that area. The area itself is like 520,000 acres. Some is, of course, protected land, and some has, permittable hunting on it. But I think when we started going to the Green Swamp, that April 2022 month was the first time the two of us ourselves went out, and it was the same time we found those tracks. So at that point, we were not aware of a lot of other people visiting that spot except the past team that we were on, and maybe one other group. Now, as we're growing our network and learning, from others in the Florida area, that had been a promising spot for people in the past prior to Troy and I visiting those areas. So there were other reasons that drew people to that part of Florida because of Sasquatch activity. So I think it's, based on what I've gathered, it's more popular now than what we originally had thought.
Okay.
Outside of typical people hiking, biking, and doing it for nature, right? Nature enthusiasts.
All right, I'm gonna ask Troy. See if I've done. Troy, are y'all not afraid of hoaxers?
Absolutely. Yeah. So what we do is we do not let anybody know where we're going and when we're going. That way we can avoid anybody possibly perpetrating a hoax on us. That's really important because there are people out there that will do it. And unfortunately, those people ruin it for everyone. They ruin it for the field, for the community, and for each other. It destroys the amount of effort that you put into it, and learning the behavior of these creatures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I kind of wondered about that myself, because a lot of times you run into that, especially in more popular places. So I did, but y'all now go into different places, do you not?
Yes. I will give you an example, though. We do have a guy that actually runs barefoot out in the Green Swamp. So you'll see his tracks out there, and he's running barefoot. And we actually casted his footprint so that we'll know who he is. So if we ever see the tracks out there, we can go, okay, these match with what we have, so we know who it is. And they'll actually have they call it I think it's a Bigfoot run once a year. And they run at night, and I think it's like a 5K, maybe a 10K, where they run through the woods as well. And some people run without shoes on at night, which is, to me, kind of crazy, right?
It is.
But they do it. So you have to be aware of these things and these people, and they're not trying to perpetrate a hoax, but they are putting stuff out there. And that's why you have to be very careful. You have to look at the information, know what you're talking about, and really do your research. Like when we found these tracks originally, we took over a month to review the data, to reach out to known what we believe to be the most knowledgeable people in the Bigfoot community, to take a look at them and get their feedback before we even told anybody about it. Because like you want to make sure that this information is good. You don't want to lead somebody down a rabbit hole that is just misinformation, and that's horrible to do that.
Oh, it's hard to do, but I mean, it's all speculation. We don't see Bigfoot making these tracks, or anybody else, as far as that goes. It's all speculation. I mean, I get that. I've got stuff that I'm 100% sure that it was some kind of creature that made. Fire alarm.
I got my I have a cat, and this cat's feral. So he's very vocal. So I
Not a problem.
apologize for that.
Nope, not a problem. I love animals too. All right, so
Yep.
let's go ahead and get into these footprints, and we'll get to the first one. All right, now right here is where I wanted to stop at and start. I take it this was a roadway, and y'all come in, and from the introduction that you put on there, do you think y'all might have jumped and scared a family of Bigfoot? Is that what y'all think?
Yeah, we think they were definitely not expecting anyone at that time of day coming in during a weekday. So this happened to be on a weekday, early in the morning, and where we head into this area where we have spent a fair amount of time, hundreds of hours
Hmm.
of time. It's the backside of the main trail, so we're at a location where many people don't go to start their hike. It's actually where they end their
Mhm.
hike. And so when we had parked in the little parking lot there, we were the only cars at the trailhead. So it was just our two cars. We're very methodical when we park and get out there. So it's lights off before you park. You're silently closing your door, your trunk, and you're quietly locking your car because we don't want to give
Any
anything
slams?
away. Even though more than likely if they're nearby, they're nowhere. We know they're there. We don't give them any more of a heads up than we
You're
need
right.
to. So keeping that in mind, the weekday, the time of day, only us in that location based on what we could see vehicle wise. Um, they more than likely may have not been expecting anybody to show up and head in on that way. And what you're looking at right there, that is the main trail where we found 19 footprints and possibly those knuckle
Hmm.
tracks that you showed in the video as well. The brief comparison between Paul Freeman's knuckles and the ones that we located. So we're working off of a very hard trail that doesn't leave much room for any type of
Hmm.
impressions. And Troy defines the substrate, I believe, is it clay, mixed sand and
Yeah. So
shell. Does
underneath it,
that sound
there's like
correct?
a hard clay base. On top of it, you have ground shell with sand on top. Some areas collect more sand than others, so it gives you an opportunity for an impression to take on that substrate. Where other areas, it's just pure solid, and you're
Hmm.
not going to get an impression. Luckily enough, we had, as we were walking in, we could see actually some coyote tracks in there, and the sand was built up. It looked really good. We actually made a comment about it that, geez, the tracks are going to hold up really well if there's something out here. Um, and we did. We found coyote tracks going down the trail, and then of course we were uh, distracted by the whistles that also occurred, and we'll get into that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I know what you mean by substrate. When I had my sighting way back in the '80s, I had rocky ground, and I'm talking about red clay, uh, dirt, and rocks throughout the whole thing. It was hard to pick up anything, but I had one spot that was like a 3x4 spot where rain would puddle up, and you would get that
Yeah.
grainy sand, and that's where it left a footprint. And that was the only place it left a footprint. And I could tell by looking at this substrate that you were lucky. You were
Yeah.
lucky it wasn't. And I could see the front foot at the end of the ruler. And I'm taking it that you took another one back here in the back, about the same location. Is that right? To get this Gant.
Yes.
Okay. And the Gant on it was what, 3 feet and one inches?
Yeah. 30. If I can see it right, 36 and a half inches. Yep.
Yep, yep. And the stride length was 5 feet, a little over 5 feet.
Yeah, yeah, 67.5 inches. So that would be right foot to right foot would be the stride. The step
Mm-hmm.
would be right foot to left foot, 36 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good grief. That's a long. Reckon how big you think that was for that
I
kind
think
of a
this
Gant.
especially with this, if you look at the footprint, 6.5 inches, right? The large one, and then 3.5 inches wide. Our 4-year, I have a grandson. At that time, he was 4 years old. I measured his foot. It was about 6 inches long and about, I think it was like 2 inches wide, maybe 2.5 inches wide.
Yeah.
So that's a 4-year-old, right? So how big is this one? I'm sure it's a juvenile, right? I'm guessing maybe 4 foot tall. I don't know. It's hard, we're talking body and shape and all that other stuff. So I don't know how big this guy would be.
Good deal. Good deal. Why are Bigfoot? I'm gonna ask this question. Put it up there. Why do you think Bigfoot tracks are in a single file? Just curious. Do y'all have an idea?
I mean, I really think based on what we know, I guess I can't say scientifically, but a series of professionals that have focused on foot morphology and then tied in kinesiology and parts of like exercise physiology determined that the design of this potential creature's walk would almost be in a single file based on the way the tracks are found, based on the way other sightings have occurred where people have seen them walking the same exact way or kind of even gliding, moving so fast that they don't really see anything else going except the figure gliding along. So I think when they use some of that information and then maybe scientific information from gorillas and chimpanzees and orangutans and all of that, determining what Sasquatch may be, the different buckets you could put the creature in or the being in, that tends to add up to what our experience was and what we know so far of what's been shared globally on the topic when it comes to this type of information.
I'm one of those that I've done a little bit of studying and tracking, and and I'm sorry to say, well, I ain't gonna say I'm sorry to say, I'm not, can't say that either. I was in a little bit of tracking, and the way the Native Americans used to do it, they would try to be more in step or in line than to have a wide range as far as to the angles. You know what I mean? Where most people you watch and see, they probably got anywhere from 6 inches. Some have a foot in between where they step, if that makes sense. It's more or less like the more in nature that you are, the more you tend to walk what I call heel to toe in a line. That's just the way I see it. I don't know if that's the correct way to say that, but to answer his question, that's why I think they walk in a straight line. All right, let's move on forward a little bit, get some of these footprints. All right, so what are we looking there?
This is a very.
So that is the.
This is the very first footprint that was found, and Desi found it. Tell the story, Des.
Yeah, so the only reason we found the footprint at all is because we had green headlamps, and I happened to be carrying my green headlamp at my wayside, looking on the trail for tracks. That's actually how we saw the coyote track as well. But the coyote track that same morning was very prominent, like Troy was saying, because of that buildup. But it made it so much easier to see because of the light play, right? You can see the compare and contrast between the shadows. And then if you went back to that initial daylight photo of us measuring the stride and the gait, you really can't see anything. Once the sun came up, we started losing that visual. But because of that green headlamp, which was a $10 Amazon purchase, looking back at it, we were able to find something that more than likely we wouldn't have.
I love it. And this was at nighttime, was it not?
Yeah.
It's great.
Early in the morning.
Yeah, it was dark.
Yeah, pretty early in the
I'm
morning.
going to be honest with you. I have not thought about using that green light. I know a lot of people use white light, but I've not thought about a green light. That's I'd say both of y'all, that's a very good idea. I like that.
It's easy on the eyes. And when she was walking with it, it really made the shadows prominent, which gave which gave you the visual of seeing the toes, seeing the outline much better. And like Des says, as soon as the light came up, those footprints just disappeared. Obviously they're there, but you just couldn't see them because there was no shadows anymore.
I think the same footprint is in here in the daylight. I'm not sure. Is that a Bigfoot footprint? Yeah,
Yes.
Kimberly, all we can say is we are the suspicion of that this is a Bigfoot footprint. And then let me explain something to people. You've seen the illustration a while ago where you had the footprint on there. If you notice that the arch is always prominent and you won't see the instep, and here you see in the instep is what leads us to believe that this is a Bigfoot print. The front part of it, and I'll get to this later because there's another footprint that will explain this a little more. Those that are knowing in tracking, this is hard ground. It takes a lot of weight to leave this kind of track. If you look on the sides of it, see how far. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this may be a female footprint. I'll explain why here in just a little bit. But if you notice the edge of the footprint and how it concaves and pushes out, that's how you can tell that the instep was heavily involved in this one. All right, so let's move on. Now, of course, this is the measurements, and I kind of think you might have missed it just a little bit. Whoever measured this, you got 3.5. That's close to 4. I understand that. But your 5.5 may be off just a hair according to the picture. Now, just according to the picture, Troy. I don't know who done it, but looked like to me your toes needed to be at least another 1/2 inch and possibly another 1/2 inch on the heel. Yep. What you do, and I know what you're doing here, but the bottom, I'm not going to explain track it to you. Y'all know more about it, just so if I do. But I think you might have missed it by an inch. This could be a 6.5 print here.
Agreed. Yeah, I think they're all 6.5 inches. I think this is just for demonstration purposes only, the way it was done with the the drawing. But 6.5, that's the number that we had pretty much for all the tracks.
Okay.
And 3.5 wide, sure. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Stephen. Where do you see an arc? I don't see the arc. I see something else, but it's not the arc. All right, let's move on. Okay, is this the same print? It's got to be. Is it?
Yep.
Okay.
Same one during the day, correct? Or when the sun.
So that was a shell that we were seeing right there.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Boy, that's interesting. I'm still trying to find this arc.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
You take a look at that foot. You see that nice rounded back end there for the heel, and it kind of just goes right up through the toes on each side. It's pretty flat right across the whole thing. You can see where the toes dug in a little bit and pulled that up. Yeah.
Yep, I like this. And I will explain the middle here in just a minute because there's another print in here that will explain this better. And what am I looking at here?
This is
another. I see it here.
Yeah. This is a right footprint, and it looks like on this one, because I believe, and I'm not a foot expert, because of the mid-tarsal, it does give it a little bit of variability where the front end, the toes, can move left and right. And it looks like the toes on the right, on the front of this one, move to the right. And then you can see where the toes dug in. And you can see that flat foot, again, all the way through, and the toes move to the right to dig in. That's what it looks like to me. Not 100%. I don't know how that mid-tarsal works 100%, but I believe it gives it the flexibility, at least the front end, to move left and right.
And you'll see another track in the mixer where the same exact marking is made, but there's more definition in the toes.
Yeah.
So you'll see it kind of, like he's saying, goes left to right, shifts.
I'm sorry, I got a little tickled with Seminole War. A Bigfoot probably screamed when he stepped on that shell.
I know I would have.
I would have too. All right, let's see here. Is this the same footprint?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a different orientation of the
Yes, it
front.
is. You see the different
Yeah.
angle, so you can see how the toes are kind of
Yeah.
splayed, and shifting, and the picture shifting
Yeah.
up. Where that big toe, you can see that big toe.
Mhm.
It's still heading that same direction, right? But the others are twisted a little bit or turned. Once again, this light play, right? We're leaning into a green
Yeah.
headlamp on a hard trail, trying to make out when we can, to make sure it is an actual footprint and it wasn't something else, right? Because your mind, your eyes doing all kinds of different things when you're looking at
Mhm.
this. You're hoping you want it to be that. Who wouldn't? Who's looking for Sasquatch? But you also back to putting out the right type of evidence. We're not putting anything out there that we don't fully commit to believing that's what it is. We don't do anybody justice
Well,
doing that.
and I think
No.
y'all are doing it the right way, because you got to get different angles, different depths, taking your substrate, yada yada yada. There's so much involved with footprints itself that people just don't realize. They think they can just throw casting in it, and there you go. No, I think I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna say it again. If you're casting a footprint, if you can let some spill over the edge and get that too, because you got to understand what that
Absolutely.
the whole deal is about, the whole area, not just your uh, 4 foot or 4 inches by 6 inches footprint.
Mhm.
You got to go over to catch to see what it's doing. Like I said, I'll explain it to you here just a little bit.
Totally agree.
Let me see if I can press play. Okay, I don't know what in the world went through this thing.
Oh, centipede, I believe.
The centipede.
Yep, I
That's a
believe
big one.
so. And
All
that's,
right.
to me, this print. There's another print. These two are my favorite prints, because I
Okay.
mean, just take a look at it. You can see that flat foot, the shape of it, very flat all the way out to the toes. You can see the compression of the front of the foot, like the mid tarsal, where it compresses down. You get that nice flat surface of the sand in there, and the toes forward of that. I mean, there's no arch in this thing whatsoever. I mean, that thing is, and this is one of the things that really struck me as far as being like, holy cow, we've got something real here. That's really important that we need to share. And it's just amazing to me, and especially the size. We're out in the middle of pretty much, there's no houses within 5 miles, air miles of this location. And you've got a 6.5 foot, a 6.5 inch track, 3.5 inches wide, corresponds to a human that's 4 years old. There's no other tracks out here. There's no human tracks. There's no other Bigfoot tracks. This thing was by itself. So if it is a human, why is there a little toddler out here, right? And if it is a Bigfoot, I understand why it might be alone. That makes more sense.
Mhm.
So that's what really makes us lean into this is a Bigfoot track, along with the knuckle tracks on top of it. Anyway,
Yeah.
Plus, plus that width. So yeah, a typical
yeah,
toddler's length, but that width is not a
mhm.
toddler's width. I mean, that's some extra
That's a
wide
nice,
feet. And like Troy mentioned earlier, like he measured his grandchildren. I have a set of now 6-year-old twins, soon to be 6. They'll bring artwork home that has, when they were younger, it was like their foot on paint and they made it into a flower or whatever, right? We're looking at, our kids' feet and seeing how prominent the arch is and how distinctly narrow their foot is compared to what we saw. So that the width is definitely eye
Let
opening.
me do something here. All right, there we go. I expanded it out a little bit, Stephen. Where do you see a boot print? I see a heel. I see everything,
yep.
even all the way up here. And I understand how boots are, but even boots come in a little bit, especially at the arch. Where do you see the front toe of a boot? I don't see it here. I see toes up there,
Mhm.
up in the front. I don't see where you say that this could be a boot print. Okay, I just wanted to address that, and I like questions like that, because
No, yeah,
if you don't look at it and judge it and go over these, you know what I mean. Well, you need to go back to square one.
yeah.
People don't
High
want to know
fox.
where was this. Go ahead.
icebox. We also looked into, you know how they have shoes that have the toes on the out in them as well. We also looked into those type of shoes, and all of those seem to have a tread on them as well. There's no tread on this at all, and the toes are definitely movable on this, where actually the whole front can move on some of the other tracks you saw. And we put so much research into this to dig this out. We really didn't come up with anything else that it could possibly be. Not that there isn't, we could miss something for sure,
Correct.
We put a lot of research into it.
Well, see, that's why I like people from the chat when they are a little bit skeptic about what we show, so we can all go over it. Because like I said, I'll probably make a claim that's going to be wrong, or somebody fool me one of these days, and that's fine. You got to make your mistakes to learn stuff. But I like that question. Yep. Thanks, Stephen. I appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, here we go. Move on. This is my favorite one. All right, what we got going on here?
Des?
Is there, and I'm sorry, the image it's just a little bit blurry, and I just want to make sure this is not our knuckle impression.
No,
not the knuckle.
No. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I know around the knuckles there was a buildup of shell too. So what this really looks like to us is some type of motion, and when we get a chance to explain how that whole morning rolled out, once we got on the trail before finding the tracks, it'll maybe make more sense. But to us, you can see the front of the foot digging into the substrate to push off in whatever direction. And we'll talk a little bit about direction as well. And it might as well now, since we're talking about maybe what the impact of this foot is, or this photo is. The tracks were coming. The first track we found was coming towards us. So heading the same, we were coming this way, that track was here. So it was pointing in our direction. And after that track, we saw the other ones behind it. But there was a transition point where these tracks came towards us and then turned around and went away from us. So all of this happened within, X, I don't remember how. I don't even think our measuring tool could go that far for us to go from where we found the first one and the last one. It was that far. And Troy's really good at estimating. It's 100 yards. I'm like, that looks like 10 feet. You know what I mean? Like, he's an engineer. I'm not an engineer, so I don't have that kind of skill set. But yes, there was an impact here of some type of motion with that foot that pushed that substrate.
Yeah,
like it did.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Troy.
You can see where the toes dug in there as well and pushed it back. So there's actually some good motion in there. So and going back to the boot, and this is why we eliminated the boots. There were no treads, and we had toe action. We had toe action, and what it looked like to us like a mid-tarsal action as well.
All right, what I see here, and that's what I was trying to get at. I'm trying to make sure what Henry was saying. Okay, Steve said, let me explain something to you on footprints, Stephen. I said it somewhere else on another show or whatever. When you see a dozer going down through mud tracks and sand and all that kind of stuff, and you can even see it on just regular dirt, when it digs in, the claw of that track, it basically rolls in kind of like this, and it digs into the dirt, and it flattens out, and there it is. And then as it goes to the back, it's just sitting there. Okay. Once it gets to the back of the track, well, it lifts. And when it lifts, I don't know if I can see it, it'll scoop some dirt up. Okay. And that's what you've got here. And this is what I call, you could tell it was going forward, or if you was looking at the picture, it's going to the right of the picture. Okay. So I'm kind of explaining that to Stephen. His glasses are dim and he's old. So I'm trying to, just a jab, Stephen, just a jab. is the same picture?
No, this one's different. This is one. This is my second
this is a different
favorite
picture.
photo because the toes are so contrasted here. They really pop out at you. As you can see, you've got your toes going across, and the tape measure is covering up one of the toes. But you've got the 5 toes up there. You've got the flattened area behind it. That's really nice and goes through it. But I just love how much the toes just pop out on this one.
I do too. Yeah, I do too. And it's kind of odd. Somebody else has got one. I'm thinking it's Flat Rock or somebody, and we all know Flat Rock. Somebody's got what I call some square toes. That's very interesting to me. By the way, Van Edwards, good to see you, brother. If you want on, all you got to do is ask for the link. That's just all I'm going to say. He knows what I'm talking about. All right. So, anyways, Steven. I love Steven. All right. But yeah, I can see the toes, and I really like this picture because getting definite with more definition on the toes, it usually takes softer ground. And even then, you're going to get sticky, you know. So, I really like this picture. Now I like what's coming up, and guys, it's rare. I know I've seen one other, or maybe 2 other knuckles comparison, and it helps me when I hear stuff because I'm used to Bigfoot being bipedal, okay, and it helps me to understand a little bit more in what they can do, their habits, and what they do with these knuckle kind of type deals. And I like to see more of this. All right, so let's move on. These are the knuckle prints, correct?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to put this a little bit bigger. There we go. A little bit bigger. Interesting. It's very interesting. I can see where you're talking about the thumb or what could possibly be the thumb up here on top.
Yes. And it was interesting because we couldn't figure it out. We're like, what the heck are these things? And we looked at it, and we just couldn't figure it out. And then I think we were looking at gorillas walking on their knuckles, and we're like, "Holy cow! They're walking on their knuckles." Of course, the gorilla's thumb is further back, right? So I don't think it touches. Where on this one, the tip, it looks like the tip of the thumb is just touching the sand. So as it's pressing into the sand, that tip of that thumb is just touching, as you can see here. And we had a few of these tracks. I think we had like 2, 3 of them. Might have been 4. So at some point they're on their knuckles coming through here. Don't know why, but they were. I don't know if it's difference in speed or what the difference or why they did it.
And there's definitely been reports where somebody we actually spent some time with a good friend today, and he was telling us about some accounts that he had heard in passing during his research, and a person had said they saw what they believe was a Sasquatch on 2 legs. As soon as it knew it was spotted, it hunched down on all 4s and then was gone. So, getting down, maybe that's when they go into, I don't know, super turbo speed and take off.
What I've heard.
Get out of there as fast as they can.
That's what.
So there are accounts of that across the country.
Well, and I like that, and I've heard that too. When they get on all 4s, that's when they can go faster. But I don't see the action here. It looks like they're just basically putting a print moving forward, like a step. But I don't see the action of a run here, like a push off.
Yeah, and I agree with that too, because it looks like they stopped or they just pushed it in. There's not a whole lot of activity there. I think there is some on the lower section of that, the last 2 knuckles there, but it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of activity. No, but I just wonder, I always think about this. If they're out there foraging in the forest, are they on all 4s most of the time? And when they're starting to make a move to go maybe long distances, do they stand up and walk? I don't know. We're trying to figure this out. And this being a juvenile, Maybe, the juvenile spends more time on all fours, and maybe it's transitioning to a bipedal movement. We're
up to an older juvenile. Yeah,
yeah,
I totally. That's very, very reasonable. Let's put it that way. I'm told when they're younger, they tend to walk more on fours, but there are growing up, they start being more bipedal,
right.
from what I'm understanding. Okay, and that's all. Until then, when we get captured, the routine that we always hear. Until we know for sure, it's all speculation. It's all speculation. But I like this. I really do. You want to comment on this before I move on, Des?
I think we may have another photo without the measuring tape by
I
it.
think we do.
And like Troy was saying, those bottom ones, I think there is some type of motion that appears a couple inches. Like if it is truly that, we weren't sure, so I don't think we honed in on that a bit. But if it is, it would look like the bottom had brushed against the trail before it laid its knuckles down the whole way. So that could be the next one, or the next one could be a green one. I can't
All right,
remember.
well, let's just take a look. We're close. I take this was at night.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was early in the morning. Yeah, you can see a little bit. I mean, and this could be the light play of the green. So the green light. So during the day, it seems like it's pretty straight, right? Or when the light is up, when the sun's up, and this one seemed to have more of an angle, but we're not sure. Like we were losing darkness. So, a lot of lessons learned during this experience. But if we had the opportunity to have all these marked, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it makes sense for your viewers. Oh, we would have loved to be able to do that. We were using everything and anything under the sun to not lose them. A shell here, a rock there. Yeah. Twigs here, like trying to mark them all real quick.
This is why I like y'all so much. Y'all are really trying to cover your bases and technique and what you're doing. I really, really do love this.
And we learned a lot. We learned a lot from our mistakes. Now we have tents that we use that has 1, 2, 3, 4 on them. So we plop those things down next time we come across these more tracks. So we've got them all lined up. Take 4 to 5 photos of each one. But we actually come up with a protocol on how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't make the same mistakes.
Yeah, and you're going to make your mistakes. Oh, trust me, you're going to make your mistakes. But I'm really liking this. I really am. Let's go on. I think this is the one you was wanting. Is it, Des?
It is, but now seeing the daylight, looks like there was a bike track there. Oh.
Yeah.
So there was no drag.
Okay, so that's what she's wanting to know. Yeah, you can see it. It looks like there's some tread here.
Yep.
It just went right through the middle of it, and you can tell that this, whatever made this, was after the trail or the bike, or could be a tire from someone. Who knows? Yep. All right. Okay, now that we got to the end of this, I want you guys, we're going to go into the audio. That was great, just going through the footprints. I enjoyed that. I think everybody else did too. All right, so anyways, we're going to go into some audio, and what we're going into next is, Troy, I'm going to let you explain it because this was your video.
Okay.
You ready?
Sure, go ahead. I'm not sure where this is.
We'll pause it there.
Yeah, so you heard those knocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those knocks, this was in an area where I was servicing some cameras. We've got, we have a swamp, and through the middle of this swamp is a tramway, which is an old railroad. They used to do cypress logging in this area. So right through the middle of this swamp, they've got this railroad that goes through, and you can still see the old cypress ties that are in there. It's amazing that they still are in good shape, or decent shape, I should say. Anyway, a lot of activity goes through there as far as animal activity. And it's exciting because we have bobcats, otters, pigs, deer coming through there, uh, coyotes going through. I've got videos of a coyote chasing a fawn through there. Um, anyway, so I'm up there servicing some cameras, and normally in this area, if I hear a knock, it's usually like a soft knock. It's like a knock that's not made for me to hear it, but it's almost as if they're letting somebody else know, or another Bigfoot possibly, that
Right.
there's somebody in the area. So it's a soft knock, and that way they hear it. Okay. So with that said, I also have heard some whistles in this area as well. Uh, Now, this day I went out there, and these knocks were different. They were loud and they were more aggressive. I felt like I'm going, okay, I don't like the feeling of this. So once I heard that, I had one more camera to take care of. And I'll just tell you right now, I didn't take care of it. I said, okay, I'm going to move on, because I've never heard, it's true.
I know, I get it. I get it.
I never heard that loud of a knock in there. I mean, that sounded like like, somebody hitting a home run. Pop, 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 pop. It was really aggressive. So I finished up. I made my way out. And typically in this area, like I said, if they're in there, it appears that they're very timid. The whistles that we originally heard, I heard closer to one of the fire breaks that I have traveled down. And as I went in further, the whistles seemed to have gone back, and they never returned. They never came back. So the whistles went further back into the woods on the other side of the swamp. So this was different. I can't explain it. It was just an internal feeling with me. So I said, okay, I'm gonna split on this one.
Troy,
I'm
let me
coach. So
let me make you feel a little bit better, okay? I once done an experiment with tree knocks, and I was by myself, unarmed, which right there plays stupidity on my part. And I tree knocked on one time, and if you've heard my story, I done it 3 times. I got a 3 knock back. I thought it might have been an echo, so I done it twice. I got another 3 knock back, and I'm like, oh nope, I'm done. I just hiked my little butt right back to the house. I said, I'm not out here with nothing, and this thing is answering. I'm by myself. It's a different ball game. It's a different ball game. You just got to go. You just got to, because if you're armed, you're a little bit more careful. You know what I'm saying? But anyway.
Yep, for sure.
All right, Desi, do you want to comment on this before we move on?
Yeah, if you don't
Absolutely.
mind, real quick. So Troy does not back down from anything. So let me say that very specifically. Like, he is more confident than anyone I've met, aside from my uncle, in the woods. So if he is scared, that take it
Yeah.
seriously. And that day that happened to him, so he caught that on his GoPro, which he wears on his head. And that day, he got in touch with me after he got out of the woods, and he said, "Uh, something happened out there. I'm going to send you the clip and let me know what you hear." And it is crystal clear.
It
It
is.
really sounds. And I know, we're on streaming software, and we have a website, we have avenues where anyone can go and jump in and listen to things. But if you have, like, you've got your headphones on,
True.
Tommy, if you listen, you'll hear it sounds like a Louisville Slugger hit a baseball in the middle of the woods, and back to back to back. So genuine, honest, he's by himself, and knowing that he had that fear, that kind of fight or flight moment, that's a rarity for
Common
me.
sense. Let's go that route.
So that's,
I'll take
yeah,
that.
there you go. Yeah.
No, I understand. All right, that's
So yeah.
like this. Let's go over here. All right, let's see where we're looking at now. Okay,
I can
that was a short one. Do you know what that one was about?
Yeah, Tommy, I can take that one for
Okay.
sure. And I would be so eager if you, Tommy, or any of your listeners, your subscribers have any idea what that is. So Troy and I, same area we visit, and another one of the researchers, we went out. It's a backcountry campground, and we spent the night there. And I had a tent. Troy was cowboy camping, and our other researcher friend was in a hammock. And we're all right around each other. And we had some interesting things happen that evening. After it got dark, we thought we saw what looked like flashlights near our camp, but nobody else was there. Like, it was just some oddities. But anyways, this is about 2:33 in the morning. I'm in my tent, halfway asleep. I love audio. You both know that. I love audio. So I feel like you sleep with one ear open. Troy's right outside my tent, sleeping underneath a tarp, I believe, just on the ground. And I start hearing in the distance something whistling. And then it sounds like it's getting closer to us. And okay, so 2:33 in the morning, I feel pretty solid with that guess in time. Now we rarely hear any birds except from your classic
What about
owls
whippoorwills?
throughout the night. Or what? Yes, correct. Or those. So we rarely hear noises like this, and it went on, off and on for about 15 minutes. So I'm listening. I probably listened for about a minute and a half and thought, it's not stopping. So I opened my tent, hand out my recorder to Troy. He takes the recorder because I knew it's getting affected by the fabric of the tent, so it's going to be distorted. He takes it and he's out there, and then I lay back down and just listen. So it was, there's a lot of melody to this, right? So when you think melody, you think birds instantly. Oh, it's some type of bird. Like, what could that have been? But it was so much activity with that same type of continuous whistle, up and down, up and down. We've compared it to other pieces of bird audio, and we cannot identify. I think the closest thing we came to it was a day quail. Is that sound? Day quail, like the medicine, but a quail.
A quail. Yeah.
A ground quail. But it still did not have the same. It did not match. That doesn't mean it's not it. It just didn't match what we caught. But it went back and forth. It was very impressive, whatever it was. So I'm so eager if there's anyone that had listened and you can play it again. But it is, whatever it is, it's really, really cool. And this is an area we visited.
Let me add to this, because we heard it. It started whistling, and the whistle came towards us just to our east, just to the east of us, and it moved right past us. And I mean, maybe about 50, 75 yards away, so we couldn't see it. But what's the funniest thing to me was I'm out there, I'm hearing this thing, right? Then all of a sudden I hear zip, and out comes this recorder. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I grab it and I'm out there with it. But it was just the funniest thing. Of course, she hears it and the zipper goes zip, because she's like she loves audio.
I know.
It was just funny. I just had to be there, but it was funny.
Well, I'll tell you what. Go ahead, Desi.
Okay, so Tommy, tell us what it is, please. Let's check this one off. Let's check this box.
Well, let's put it this way. I could help with footprints, other stuff, audio. I just don't know about. I should be more proficient. That's why I got you on the show, Des.
Yeah, we plugged it through the Merlin app and a few other apps that we use to try to identify the Cornell one, and it didn't come up with anything. So.
Okay, let me see. So let's put it this way. Seminole War said he heard a similar whistle, same time of night for a long time. So that might help you some, but let's try it and see what happens.
Oh, cool.
I'm not 100% sure, Des, and I'm the first one. It does sound like a little bit of a whippoorwill effect in there at one point, but that where it tweeted a little bit more. there at the end of it. It done it twice. So I'm not an expert on whippoorwills, just to be honest with you, but there was a part of it that, let's see if I can go back. Right there, it sounded like a little bit of a whippoorwill. You know what I mean? That first part is like, you know what I mean? And then it done it again, a short burst, and then it sounded like a whippoorwill again, and then it kicked in another time. So I don't know that I can help you with that one. The first part of it's kind of weird because it tweeted a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh.
Kind of sounded. There was a time it was like a pay attention to me whistle, right? Like where you're calling your dog back. Like you know, that's what caught me a little bit there with that, just kind of the flow of that or the cadence of
you know,
it. But yeah, if anyone,
anybody,
knows.
we're all learning here all the time. I'm one of those that I've got either inconclusive, could be, no, and oh yeah, you know what I mean. That one for me is what I call not sure of, so I'm gonna say inconclusive. But it's possibility. It's possibility. I really don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't want to hear it tonight. Let's put it that way. Not camp. All right, we'll move on. Did I hear a knock? That was
Yes,
one
sir.
with a knock.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna move.
Correct. You got that was it. That knock was nice and close to us, and that's when either the both of us were together or the both of us and another one of our close friends.
I'm gonna move on because there's a couple more knocks in here, I believe. Okay. I'm gonna stop right there for a minute. Are y'all hearing snapping outside of a tent or something? What are y'all hearing here?
So we're sitting right beside each other in our chairs out in the open. And so what it sounded like to us is you've got a lot of insects going on, so you can hear the insects going. Some stuff's falling from the tree, so could be acorns, could be little pieces of the tree falling off. But we heard what sounded like something knocked a tree right beside us. He heard it. I thought it was him, and he was like, "No, it wasn't me." And it was, I mean, once again, not good with distance and location, but it was right there. And for him to say, "Did you hear it?" because his hearing isn't that good, means it was close. Love you, but your hearing's not that good. You bet.
I'm gonna stop it right there because all of us knows what's coming up. Is that a howl or is that coyote?
Coyote.
Yeah. So coyotes during the day.
During the day. Okay.
Yep.
During the day, about 12:31 in the afternoon.
Okay. That's what I thought. But that first lone howl, you know what I mean? I wanted to make sure because I know what the rest of them are.
No, that. Yeah. No, that long first howl. It shook us both because we were like,
"Well,
what the?"
You've seen podcasts,
and then
you've seen podcasts and heard other people say, you know, and I've heard them too. Yep. Recordings of Bigfoot howling, and then the coyotes get upset about it. They start going yep, yep, yep. And they do the same thing in here. Yep. Play it again. It's a howl, but all right, I'll play it again, Steve. You know me, I don't care. Yep.
Taking these walk down memory lanes. Sorry.
Wonderful. Love it.
I'm looking at him thinking I picture exactly where we were at the time. Love that. You're muted, boss.
Sorry about that. I had to sneeze a while ago. I hate coyotes. I hate it. Steve, you're hearing two different houses. That's right, because one of them was male. The rest of them are the female and the pups. But yeah, that's just an eerie sound to hear out there at nighttime. I just don't like it.
It's wonderful. She called in. I don't know how many coyotes we were out there. What, about a month, 2 months ago? She let out a howl, and then maybe about I don't know, 3/4 of a mile away, the coyotes started going off.
Yeah.
And then we waited. She made another howl. The coyotes were closer, and they kept on coming closer and closer. I mean, to the point where we could see them in the scrub palmettos running through using the thermals. So it was crazy. It was crazy.
Let me say something. All right. I used to coyote hunt. Never had this happen to me. I did have them come get close, but they wouldn't break the grass line, and they were in the grass coming up. You could hear them, see them, but they never would break it. But I have heard stories of coyotes just come on in, and they'll run you up a tree if you ain't careful.
I wouldn't doubt it.
That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And she's got a knack for this too. I'm telling you that she can pull in coyotes.
Oh, I'd love to take her hunting on coyote hunts.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, here we go. Well, I say here we go. My finger didn't go.
Sounded like a human whistle. Didn't know. 100%. It's still happening. I have to be honest, I'm covered in goosebumps.
That almost sounded like Young Side Highway.
Right by 471.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard the whistles, though. I
So-
heard the whistles.
So that's the same morning that we found all the tracks.
Okay.
So those whistles happened when we were about 10 minutes on that
Mhm.
trail. And yeah, the traffic in the background is Highway 471, which runs north south. A lot of semis. Your truck
Yeah.
driver, Tommy, you might have been passing through there at the same time. But a lot of trucks going back there. And yeah, give us a good toot. But yeah, that was the catalyst for what happened later, shortly after
Okay.
that. And so we did. I mean, there were a series of whistles
two
we
of 'em.
heard in the tree line. Yeah, and some are very prominent. You can hear, and it's a one and done, like a human just going.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard it.
So our thought and belief after everything that happened that early that morning into the afternoon is, were there guard squatches, were there watching squatches, were there protectors that signaled to possibly the young juvenile on that trail or juveniles? We're not 100% sure if it was just one, because we're sure we missed tracks
Yeah.
because of the light element and the ground itself. But that's what happened. And I held on to that thought that it sounded like a human. So when I said I was covered in goosebumps,
I heard
because I
that.
was fearful that
Mm.
we weren't by ourselves. I at first I wasn't thinking Sasquatch. I was thinking, oh my goodness, no other cars are here. Are there other people out here? And why are they whistling?
Serial killers.
It would now be a good time to go over the story.
Hey,
Yeah, let's
just so people know, I've got headphones on. I've got it cut up when I recorded this. So you might want to put on headphones and go back and listen to it. Main thing is we're documenting, so you can't go back and listen to it. Go ahead and tell the story.
Okay, so like Desi said, we arrived there. We're about 10 minutes in. we heard one whistle, and I, as a hunter, I just kind of blew it off. I'm like, yeah, it's a whistle, whatever. And she said it sounded human, and I'm like, So we kept on going, and at that time, that whistle was kind of to the northeast of us. So we continued on, and then the whistle happened again, maybe about another, I don't know, 2 minutes down the trail, maybe 3. And it stopped me because then I realized, wow, heck, that does sound human. It does sound significant. So when we started listening more and more, we continued down the trail, and then we hear another whistle. And at that point, now the whistle has moved from the northeast to the north of us. So it was almost parallel with us at that point. And I took out my night vision. I've got an old Gen 2 night vision that I had, and it works, but it's not the best. I couldn't really see anything out there other than the tree line. So there was nothing there. And it's not a thermal night vision. So we sat there for maybe about 3 or 4 minutes. Nothing else happened. We got up, we kept on going, and we heard another whistle again, parallel with us in the wood line just north. And then at this point, there's like a scrub field that had been burned out. What they do is they come and they do burns for the fire. They do control burns to make sure they kind of control any type of fire that does occur. So that whole area was burned out. So we didn't see anything. And again, we waited there for another X amount of time, and we continued further. And I've got the night vision out, and I'm looking, and we hear a whistle again to the north of us, parallel to us. And this time, though, there was a crack. So it was a whistle, and something stepped on something and broke it. Crack. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, what the heck is this? And meanwhile, Desi says, Troy, what's this? And I turned around, and that's when the green light had illuminated that footprint.
Mm.
So I'm sitting there looking at this footprint. We just had this whistle that kind of paralleled us. Now we had a crack, and now we have a footprint. I was stunned. So our thoughts were that there's an adult in the wood line or just north of us that paralleled us, was whistling to get the juveniles' attention, to let them know something's up, and the tracks were coming east towards us. We were heading west. Well, at this point, the tracks turned around and started going back west on that track. So this is how we kind of, our theory is that the juvenile was on that path, and the adult was in the wood line, and it had him turn around, or that was the signal. Now, as we stopped, because we had those tracks to look at, that whistle continued to go west. We could hear it continue to go west. So we stopped, and that's where we started making measurements and looking for other tracks and marking them the best way we could. So that was the encounter, but it was very eye-opening for me. Very eye-opening for me, because now I've got real evidence here, and especially the sizes, and you start putting all this stuff together. The totality of all the evidence and the information that we had really makes you think, okay, we had something that was very exciting and very important to share with others.
Yeah, I like it. Did you get anything on that before I move on?
Said it perfectly.
Okay. All right. Let me move on. Let's see here. Blue Eyes. I gotta say it. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. Blue Eye Northern, how you doing tonight? Glad to see you. You can come in late as long as you're here. We don't care. All right, we'll move on. Y'all know Blue Eyes, don't you? Miss Pat?
I don't think so.
Blue Eye Northern. Yeah, they're down in Louisiana. Well, at least I get to know they're all home safely. They went back to Louisiana. Was there a crack in that one, that last one?
I think so. I can't remember
I don't know what that one was.
without seeing the titles of the clip. Tommy, I'm not
I don't know
sure.
what that one was.
It sounded like I heard a crack, and you got to be careful.
I heard a really cool
Yeah.
ringtone.
Yeah,
You were out there.
Xbox was out there.
that's all right. All right, let me continue on.
Ooh, Tommy, this is a good one.
I think I know which one this is.
Make sure you pop that off, right?
I ain't got but one question. Does Troy snore?
Oh, I do, but that wasn't me.
Uh-huh. Does Troy?
That's-
Does Desi snore? No.
No, well, he doesn't know because he's usually sleeping, Tommy. I'm the one watching
I let
Garden.
her wake me up. Do something important.
So this is heavy breathing.
Heavy breathing. You got it. Heavy breathing. Daytime. Same area.
did you
with,
say daytime?
Coyote. Yes, sir. Daytime. Early afternoon.
Really?
Same area with all those coyote. Excuse me. All those coyote calls we heard earlier when one went off and they all chimed in. Same area. We're taking a break, so we sat down and we were just drinking some water and chit chatting, and we thought we heard something in the tree line moving. There was some wind that day, so I think we both kind of brushed it off to the wind. And then shortly after that, we heard this heavy breathing, if not like a growling sensation near us. And it kept getting louder and louder and louder. And we could see nothing in front of, I mean, it was daylight. We saw nothing around us, within how far we could see. I mean, it was, like I said, daylight, sun was shining bright. So we both sat there and just waited a bit, waited to see if something would come out from the area we could hear the sound coming from, which that area from us was like 25 feet away. That's as good as I'm getting on the measurements tonight. So I'd say 25 feet away. But we had a blind spot because there was part of a mound dug from this area. So we couldn't see part of that spot, thinking something was going to come down. An animal. We thought, I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. But once again, you get that fear factor going. So we're waiting to see something come out. Nothing's coming out. So Troy has his handgun and I have the bear mace, and we're by each other. And he just reminded me, remember, you got to take that clip off, and that's what he's saying in the clip. Don't forget to take the clip off. So we've got this heavy breathing sensation. I asked him, hey, do you want me to should I take it off now? And he said, yeah. And as soon as I took that clip off, you can hear it ping off the bear mace. Everything stopped. So he walked up a ways with his handgun, looking in the vicinity of where that noise was coming from, and there was absolutely nothing there.
And to be that loud?
Yeah. And we actually
Right?
heard brush crushing.
And you
Yes.
still couldn't see anything.
Nope. Couldn't see anything.
Nothing. We should have seen what
and
was
I
there.
actually went into it a little bit to see, and I didn't see anything in there.
Okay. But I will tell you like this, a little bit of experience that I've seen so far, but there's something about people snoring out in the woods that attracts them. Remember that, Troy. If you
Will
snore,
Yes, remember that. So when I'm snoring,
poke him in the
be on
ribs.
alert.
If you don't want nothing coming up on you, poke him in the ribs. I'm serious.
Gotta get that
No,
class
I'm
A.
serious. I am very serious about that. Snoring, for some reason, seems to attract them. I don't know. And you just heard what sounded like snoring, and I'm wondering if that's a familiar sound to them, and it brings them in.
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, it's just
I mean, that wasn't anything similar to the growl you heard, was it? Or that sound you heard where you couldn't see anything
you
around
talk
you?
about the
You were telling me about that.
no, totally different noise. Totally
Okay.
different noise.
Okay. I was curious
Yeah,
about that.
yours is more like a heavy breathing, like a snore, and that's the reason I say that. I've run across a couple stories of that where people are snoring and they say, Bigfoot's at the back of their tent, paying attention. That's just what I've heard. So I'm kind of curious about that. But no, mine was more of a growl, like you would take a bone from a dog,
Mhm.
and you know how they'll, but only
Okay.
lower and yeah, it was not good, not good. All right, let's go ahead and finish out. All right,
That's our
there you go.
that's our tree fall
Yep.
clip.
Do what?
It was one of our tree fall
Yeah.
clips. We've heard about 5 trees fall
Yeah,
when we've been out there, and I've caught it on audio, if not a trail
that
cam.
was pretty cool though.
Yeah.
You still don't know what it was.
Yeah. Same area with a couple of the clips with the knocks. It's the same location.
Yeah, yeah. So if anybody else is watching here now or later, get you some headphones, listen to all this stuff, and just tell us what you think. Leave it in the comments. We don't mind at all. So where do we go from here, guys? Are we? I was wondering today after listening to all this stuff. I wonder if y'all should start up your own team. Is that ever crossed your mind?
Our own team?
Yeah. Besides you two.
Well, we've been
Well, we do work
go
with
ahead.
other researchers, loosely. So we do have other researchers that work with us, and we go out with them as well. But it's just more of a loosely organized group. We do not have a solid group that does it together. Yeah.
Well, I can understand that, and I know what you're saying. To be honest with you, but I'm gonna tell you what, y'all are doing some wonderful work. This is what research is all about. Sometimes it takes time. It's it just does, and it wears you out. I'm gonna be honest with you. Going out camping and all this, people don't realize what it takes to do this kind of stuff. I do. You got to be smart. You got to be. I love the way y'all going about your techniques. I really do, on your footprints, your audio stuff. This is really great stuff. Really great stuff. So where are y'all going from here?
So I'm going to tell them about the structure. You good with that?
That'd be amazing. And I'd say definitely tie
Yeah.
in the tree fall and the
Yeah.
knocks to that.
Hey, are we talking about what I asked you to send me earlier?
Yes. Yeah. Can you pop
All
that
right.
up?
Yeah. Yep. Let me get into this, because here we go. I love this part. Yep.
Let me
Here we go.
let me start with the story. So what we did was we put up some recorders, and at the furthest recorder out, we heard a tree fall. So me and another researcher, we went out there, spent the night, and absolutely nothing happened. It was just so quiet. It was just nothing. So we investigated, or we scouted further east, and we found this area that you see there, and that's the area that we found. So we stayed that night. It was me, Desi, and another researcher, Tammy, that's spent that night there, and that's where we heard the tree fall. There were some voices that we heard, and they were indiscernible. We couldn't tell what the words were, and that was out to the southwest of us. And there were some murmurs. The murmurs I did not hear, but the voices I did hear, and we couldn't tell what those words were. The next day we got up, we went a little bit further south. We checked out. We thought we saw a footprint. We did take a photo, It really didn't look like much. If it was very old. It was beat up. It could have been, a hog digging in there for all we knew. So we just noted it. And then we went further east. So then we left out that trail. Not even a trail. I don't even know what you want to call it. It's just like an open area. It might have been an old logging road. Nothing grows there now, and it doesn't connect to anything. You have to go through a lot of other thick scrub to get out to another trail where we can get our way back.
Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
hidden. It's hidden
Yeah.
for sure.
So we do that, and then we went back a few more times to go back in there deeper to the south, and no big deal. So if you pop that picture up again, I'm going to show you here. Okay, so you see on the left-hand side of the screen, it says arch tree before. So that tree, you'll see it in an upcoming photo. So that tree, just note that. That's before it was arched. The tree to the right, it says cracked tree before. And this is before anything happened to these trees, before they were manipulated. So you can kind of see, like I've got my bike and we're kind of roughing it through here. We had to actually push this through the scrub and around trees and to get it into this area where we could actually do a little bit of riding on it. So that's what we have. All right. So go ahead and go to the next picture.
All right. I'm going to show up cracked and broke.
Okay. So, right. So we left for a little bit, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and we came back, and that tree that called a crack tree, you can see here now, and you'll see in a later photo what happened. There's a crack in that tree, a stress fracture. Go to your next photo. This is where the both trees were latched on, and I'll get to that in a minute, and go to the last photo. Okay, so this is the cool part. So the crack tree, now this is facing the opposite direction. I know, poor orientation. But you see the crack tree on the left. That tree was the one that was straight up. It was bent over, as you see here, and that crack that we saw on that tree is on that left-hand corner. All right. The right-hand tree, the arch tree now this is after it's been manipulated, was bent over and locked underneath that other one. Can you go back one photo?
Which one you
want? The one where that's it. So the arch tree, you can see it's locked under the other tree. So that other tree on the left was bent over, broken down, and held in place, or broken down. Now this tree, the arch one, was put underneath this one and locked underneath that little stump or that little branch that's broken off. So that was built after we were in that area. And it's across that area, it's across that little opening that we use to go in and out of that area. I am not a tree structure guy. I would never believe in them. I never have. But this started off with 2 trees that were opposite each other, approximately 30 feet apart. And these trees were almost straight up. And now something bent them over and made this structure. I was totally floored and taken back. I just could not believe what I was seeing here, because this shows manipulation of some sort. And it's got to be either human, or it's got to be a Bigfoot. I'm just going to say it, Bigfoot or something. It's not a bear, obviously. You've got 2 trees coming from different directions. It's not natural. Take a look at that thing. And on top of this, I would not even know why a hunter would do this. I've hunted for many, many years. I would be, number one, be too lazy to do that. I would take maybe a branch or a log or something if I wanted to mark the area and lay it against another tree at an angle. That way I know the area. But to do this, I'd have to climb up one tree, pull it down. And those trees were 3 inches in diameter at the base, about 6 inches up off the base. So you'd have to get all the way up, pull it down, crack it. I don't know if I'd even be happy enough to do that. And then pull the other one down and do the same thing.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah, there you go. And then later on.
Now, wait a minute. Now, which tree is this one right here in particular?
That's the crack tree. I call it the crack tree.
Okay.
That tree, because it's got that stress fracture or crack in it on the right-hand side on this photo. I wish I had.
You look at the photo, it looks like it might be 3 to 4 inches, but in the up close one, that don't look like 3 or 4 inches.
That's a big old tree.
That's a big tree.
You can see it by that other tree too, Tommy. So, like say if somebody was like, oh, it's natural from wind shear or storms, like it was like pulled to the side, like deliberately, At least that's how it appeared. It did not seem natural at all. Nevertheless, how things are linked up. So, point of using hands, right? That have the strength and the capacity to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went back there and measured, Troy even like sat on that tree, the cracked tree. He sat on that.
Just
Didn't move very
and
much.
yeah. So I put a little weight on it to see how much it would take, and it would take actually a lot of weight to make any difference. But now the tree's already down; it's already cracked, so it's already been compromised. So, but if you had gotten up there and pulled that thing down, I don't know if I could have done it, even my weight to pull that thing down. Unless I went way out to the edge. And how would a hunter do that? And why would he do that? It just makes no sense. And this is in the May time frame. May. In May out there, you're looking at it's 90 degrees plus. So you only get really, here we are out there, right? So it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I got you. No, I got you. Yeah. I've seen some weird tree bows up where we go to. I've seen some that I don't know if you're gonna believe us or not, but it bowed over. That wasn't no great big tall thing, and it's definitely not as big as this one. A little small one, but the thing was bowed over and had a little crook in the end of it, of the branch itself, and it was hooked up on another log that was probably 2 or 3 inches wide. I don't know. Wow. And it made it into a tree bow. Here's the thing: the bow that it was on, or the base of it that it hooked onto, was totally loose. If I sat there and rattled it, it would have fell apart.
Wow.
Yeah, explain that one to me. I've never seen nothing like it before in my life. I ain't got video of it. But anyways, yeah, that's very interesting. I wonder if now that I've seen your explanation of it, that's pretty cool.
It was so
exciting. I don't see why anything else would do it.
Yeah, exactly. It was so exciting because we were there. You look at all the information. We had strange voices. We had a tree fall. We had some murmurs out there. We had something that may have been a footprint. Let's throw that out, even not. And then we get this thing that is created after. Mm-hmm. I can't even fathom what it possibly could be.
Well, and you got to remember the timeline of it all too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got all these things preceding, and that's like I went camping at this spot up here in October. There was not a tree bow right there where we camped out. Then there was. We come back next year at the beginning of the year, the tree bow's gone. You got to go back and check yourself and see if anything have changed. You know what I mean? And that's a timeline. So that tells you something. All right. Well, guys, we're going to get out of here. I got something else they want me to do. But Tracking Sasquatches, how are you doing tonight? Yeah, I love them too so far. They've been great. Guys, you got anything else you want to inform us on?
I mean, we're working that area now with the new tree structure. So going back once again to see if it's changed, if anything's been added to it, if anything's been removed, from it. That area has shown promise with a few other things. So you kind of start finding your hot spots, right? Because there's so much ground to cover, trying to be smart about it. And just fine tune some of the other stuff we have. But now it's cooler, so we're hoping to have some camping, times to get out there for the weekend and not, hike how many miles out to then stay for 8 hours and then begrudgingly leave the next morning. And it's a lot of work, a lot of time and energy. So having some night overnights, I think, will be good in the cooler weather. We usually have a nice amount of activity when it's cooler. So a lot of our stuff tends to happen around that period of time. So I know I'm looking forward to that as well. And then we're just waiting for you to come down.
Lord, don't hold your breath, sweetheart. I'm gonna tell you. And don't get me wrong, I would love to come down there. I would.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
If I get a chance, don't worry. You'll know, and Richard will know, and all that kind of good stuff. And I'm hoping one day I get to. I live in Indiana right now, but you know how that goes. But anyways, Troy, they want to know where you and Desi are located. Do y'all want to tell them, or do you want to kind of leave that blank?
Well, Central Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
We do a lot of work on the Green Swamp right here, Lakeland, north of Lakeland. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good enough for me. It's blue eyed. Trust me, she doesn't mean anything by it. She
No,
just
no.
won't know where you're at.
Absolutely.
She's a wonderful woman. I'm gonna tell you, she's wonderful. All right. What about you, Troy?
Yeah. So as far as one other thing for the audience, if you guys have any questions or any information that you've heard tonight that you can share with us, please. We're always interested in seeing different ideas and different thoughts. So let us know if you guys have ideas, please.
I just put up your information
Absolutely.
up there. Sasquatch Origins. Now, is that a website? The
Yes.
www.
Yep, that's our
All right.
website.
What about you? What about
Yep.
YouTube?
And our yep, absolutely. Yep, everything we're following Sasquatch Origins, and then our Gmail is sasquatchorigins@gmail.com. So we'd be happy, if anybody wants to share anything that they've experienced, anything they want help reviewing, if it is photos, if it's audio, like you same with you, Tommy, and any of your other team members or your subscribers say, hey, I had some stuff I want you to listen to or look at. Feel free. If they want another set of eyes or ears, we're all for collaborating with like-minded people that we can build a relationship with and network truly. So don't hesitate to reach out to either of us, and hopefully we'll get an answer to this question.
So do you know David
But we'll see.
from Independent Sasquatch Research?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we know David.
Yep.
Yeah,
Love
Dave Sidoti. Yep,
Good guy.
great guy.
No, you ain't talking about David Sidoti.
Yeah.
Ah, jeez. And I almost got through it without having to see him. David's a good guy.
Yeah,
He really is.
absolutely. Yep.
Actually,
He's got so much
Oh, yeah,
experience.
ask him. He's the
doing
one
this
that
for
took
so
my
long.
interview way back when with the BFRO. He's the first guy
Oh,
I
cool.
met that actually done this stuff.
Yeah.
Me and him kind of used to work a little bit together, but I love David to death. I
Yep.
do.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thanks for, I will tell you what, see, this is what research is all about. Camaraderie, teams, making friendships, doing good work like y'all are doing. I love it. I love the way y'all are going about it. Everything about y'all tells me research, you're taking it serious, and you know what you're doing. And a lot of people can learn from y'all. Let's put it that way. So I really thank y'all for coming on the show tonight. I'm going to leave it one more time with you guys. Anything else you want to say? If not, we'll get out of here. All right. Desi, we'll start with you.
Thanks again for having us, Icebox.
pleasure.
We really appreciate it. It was an honor to meet you about a month ago, more in depth, and I hope we can continue this friendship. We're always here for you. And Troy and I always say, get in the woods.
Get in the
so
woods.
I know people are listening and watching. It's okay to take a little hike, get out there and enjoy what nature has to offer, no matter where you are. And you just never know when something may happen.
That's right. All right, Troy.
Nope. Same thing. Get in the woods, enjoy it. We love the animal life as well. I love taking the videos and photos of wildlife. So enjoy that weather, enjoy those animals. Just get out there and do it.
All right. All right. With that said, we're going to get out of here. Appreciate it, guys. It means a lot to me what y'all done with the evidence and sending it to me. I know it's a little bit aggravating, but I do appreciate it. And I've enjoyed tonight's show. I really have. But we're going to get out of here. Thanks again. Hey, like they said, y'all get out in the woods, and we'll see y'all next time. Y'all take care.